Y'all ready for this?
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another coffee time with Blind United. Of course, my name is Ed, and I'm joined in the studio today with Carol and my brother Pedro. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. We're almost to that day. You already know what I'm excited for, being a techie.
I know you drooling at the lips, my brother. So, without further ado, we're gonna get a little get started. We got a quick little thing. What is it? Our interest group today is basic JAWS, and unfortunately, Andy won't be able to handle his group tonight. So I guess I have to step in, and I'm not as smart as the rest of these guys, but I can get you through what you're going through. So if you got any JAWS issues or some little stumbling blocks, something you may be going through, and barriers you're trying to get around, over, kick to the curb, whatever the case may be, come on in and hang out with me, and let's see if we can take care of your issue. So that will be tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific time, or as Brittany loves to say, PlayStation time. So come on in and hang out with us. And hold on, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so come join us for that JAWS interest group. Ed's covering it. He's gonna go on some good JAWS basics. Ed says he's not a techie, but when it comes to JAWS, he's the guy I turn to. He comes back and lets me know, gives me tips. So he's a little techie more than he knows. But so come join us today. That's later on today. Um, so
Yeah. I know what I know, Pedro. I'm that guy that I learn what I need to learn to do what I want to do. So if you need to know something I don't know, I definitely know the right people to call and get the answers. So.
no, but like somebody like me that is new to JAWS, man, you have been giving me some good tips and some pointers and stuff like that, and pointing me to the right way,
Right.
Yeah, so
But
I've been
we'll get you through it. I mean, you're new, but trust and believe. It ain't gonna take you but a couple months, and it's gonna look like I was kindergarten compared to where you are gonna be.
By him being the techie guy, especially. I
Right.
listen in. It's a wonderful class. I don't even have a computer, but I feel like when I finally do it and get that JAWS in there, it's just good to be in the class, to have a little stepping stone to
Oh
be
yeah.
prepared.
And plus, most of this stuff we try to record it and have it over there in audio.com, blindunitedaudio.com, so you can go back and review some of this stuff. And if you happen to miss it, or as Carol will say, you get your computer a little bit later, and it's okay. I remember they were talking about that on Blind United. Let me go get that video.
That's right. That's
yeah,
right.
So
and especially for the iPhone technology class, those recordings are getting uploaded there. So go explore if you need help with your iPhone, even basic help. So I have some right there. Ed probably has recorded a couple from his Sunday class. So it's a
Uh,
good resource to have. Sometimes we
yeah.
don't have the DOR or some agency behind us to help us with that.
That's correct. I learn
You
a lot,
know,
even though I've had a little training, but the things that I'm learning on, the classes here through Blind United, I'm telling you, it's making me a pro like you all.
Well, we appreciate that, Carol. That's what Blinding Night is all about. For folks to get caught up in that gap between, services and resources, we just trying to provide whatever training we can. And I mean, I'm just so grateful to all the volunteers that come in and work with us in Blind United and, donate their time and their expertise to, where they're strong at, like with Pedro. He's more advanced, super, super advanced, with especially when it comes to, the iPhone and Mac and stuff like that. Andy, he is my number one techie guy. Sometimes he can get a little, how we want to call it, clinical. Uh, so I mean, sometimes he's a little hard to understand, but then we got George, which is also very good when it comes to jobs. So, and those guys are both above me, but again, that's who I turn to when I need questions. So, I have questions. So, but anyway, come hang out with us tonight. It's always a lot of fun, hanging out, learning some new stuff. So, uh, uh, today we have some stuff. It's about what's his name is Marco. I can't remember his last name.
salchicha, I think, something like that.
Something like that. But so he was at our state convention, and he's into tactile graphics. So I mean, this is something I just think is really, really great, especially for our community. Being able to feel what other people are looking at is always amazing to me, and I'm thankful for it. So why don't we just go ahead and do this first clip, Pedro, and see what we got in there, and then we give it a few minutes to talk about it on the other side of it. We got it broke down. He does a wonderful job for us. He's actually broken this down into 3 different clips. So we're going to play the first clip, and then we'll get into that, and then we'll move on to the next one.
Yeah, yeah. The first is the introduction, guys. So let's hear his story, and pretty interesting, if I do say so myself.
Designer, and I wasn't always blind. So I actually lost my vision very suddenly back in 2014. I'm a bilateral retinoblastoma survivor. I lost my left eye when I was a baby, but they saved my right eye with some radiation.
Hold on, guys. I think it's got labeled wrong.
And in New
Well, that is
Orleans in
his story.
2022, I was at the NFB National Convention.
Say that again, Ed?
No, I was saying that is his story, but
Yeah, but all right, let's do it because I might have to get it wrong. I was skimming through all of it.
Designer,
Sorry, guys.
and I wasn't
okay.
always blind. So I actually lost my vision very suddenly back in 2014. I'm a bilateral retinoblastoma survivor. I lost my left eye when I was a baby, but they saved my right eye with some radiation treatment. And I was hypervisual for 29 years. I was really, really, as I said, hypervisual. I was really into animation. I loved cartoons. I loved feature films. And I was really enthralled with the way that they were created. I really liked seeing all the behind-the-scenes videos of the animators from Disney, the animators from all the different houses, like flipping through pages, making hundreds of drawings to bring their characters and stories to life. And then in 1995, when Toy Story came out, I was absolutely amazed at the level of emotion that could be brought together through the same medium, but now in computer animation, and I was absolutely hooked. I studied in computer animation, media arts, and design out at the Art Institute of California in San Francisco. I graduated and gradually got into the industry. I was in the animation industry for 12 years. I worked for a variety of different companies around the Bay Area, producing trade show videos, corporate videos, but worked my way up to doing national ad campaigns and even working on feature films and leading a bunch of teams of animators on these projects. I was a senior animator full-time when my vision started to go south. It turns out that all those years later, after those radiation treatments, those of us who went through that, we developed some sort of radiation retinopathy. and I basically was losing my central vision. I was just working on a huge project, like 16-hour days, just finishing this up, and I realized that my vision was super blurry. I couldn't make out people's faces, couldn't read books, I couldn't see the controls on my computer. And I just thought, it's eye strain, it's a lot of work. But the vision wasn't returning. And then in a 3-year battle with drops, injections, surgeries, several complications, I was essentially low vision by the end of 2013. And then a few months after my 6th and final surgery, my eye just gave out. And I lost my vision in the period of 30 minutes. And I was absolutely devastated. Like, my whole animation career just gone. So I packed up my pen and Wacom tablet. I deleted all of the now inaccessible design apps that I had been using for the past several years and moved on with my life. And I got into accessibility. A few years later, I also thought I was never going to draw again or produce art. A few years later, I'm at the Lighthouse for the Blind at the adaptation store, and I'm grabbing some tips for my cane, and I notice an interesting squishy mat to the next to the cashier. It kind of felt like a big wrist rest, like one of those big, this squishy thing that was there, and I was curious about what it was because it was so big. And they told me it was a tactile drawing surface. I was a little curious, so they gave me a piece of paper and a pen and told me to draw. Started drawing on the paper, and I couldn't really feel what I was doing. And they said, draw harder. So, okay, cool. So I draw harder, and I rip a hole straight through the paper. I wasn't very impressed. Still got a new sheet of paper, and I started drawing again, and I was able to kind of scratch out an old character of mine from college. His little cute round owl named Hootie Jr. He's made up of like a variety of circles. And it was very rough, very new, and I wasn't really happy with how it felt, but I did it. And to this day, I believe Hootie Jr. is still pegged to the wall by the cashier in the adaptation store. Thank you.
Yeah, so pretty interesting. The story of Marco
Yeah,
going to the art institute, getting in the field and drawing. I could relate to that. I used to draw when I was able to see. I was actually a good drawer, and I used to do like portraits and things like that. But that aside, he ended up working in the industry and some projects, and him seeing already having a visual impairment and watching animation that caught his eye. And even if you have a disability since birth, you could even end up in a field that people may not think you belong in, but he made a
right,
career out of it.
exactly.
And he made a career. And all those movies, I remember seeing all those movies he was talking about, like the Toy Story and the DreamWorks and Pixar and all these other companies and Disney, things like that. And even anime is super popular now with the young kids, even with the older crowd now it's getting popular. And the different art forms you could do and have out there, you
Right,
know.
right. And the thing that got me is, like you say, yes, he was visually impaired, for quite some most of his life or whatever, and then he was able to per se get into a field that was not necessarily a likely field for him to get into with his visual impairment. And then he became successful, making good money, doing his thing. Like you said, he created his own characters and stuff like that. He was doing really, really, really good. And then, damn, he got the rug pulled out from under him. Like you said, he lost his vision in a matter of like 30 minutes. Uh,
In the middle of a big project too, in the middle of a 16 hours that he was working at this project.
right,
you
right,
know the frustration he have to felt right there, like,
Oh,
you
of
know
course. Just
something you
devastation.
love, something that you're good at, something you work in, your money maker too, like, I bet he probably was like, my world's over.
right. But his story goes on, and like you said, he started getting with some different software and stuff that he was able to use, and then when he started getting into that accessibility, but that moment that it ended on right there, where he was at the adaptation store in San Francisco Lighthouse, I think that was a defining moment for him because it showed him there was something else out there. But as his story goes on, he's got some really other key points that help him get to where he is now. So
Yeah, it was like something just the universe talking to him, walking into that store. Like he thought things was it was done and over with, and he saw this little thing and it gave him a little glimpse of hope. Not
right,
something
right,
big, but something small.
right.
Right.
Baby
Right.
Yeah.
steps, as they say.
Mm-hmm. And so we're gonna cut to a commercial break, and coming up, I got part two. So we're gonna continue.
You can visit our website, blindunited.org. That website again is blindunited.org. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, or would like to be added to our email list, you can email us at info@blindunited.org. That email address again is info@blindunited.org. If you would like to reach us by phone, you can call us at 909-846-8825. That number again is 909-846-8825. You can follow us on Instagram at Blind United Interest Groups. You can follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Blind United 22. You can follow us on our Facebook group, which is Blind United Interest Groups, and you can also join our Facebook page, Blind United. Blind United. Blind United.
Then in New Orleans in 2022, I was at the NFB National Convention, and that's where I met Chancey Fleet, the assistive tech coordinator at the Andrew High School Braille and Talking Books Library in New York City. And she also runs the Dimensions Lab, which teaches people how to make tactile graphics. She gave a presentation on embossing graphics, swell form graphics, thermoform, 3D printing, and even like tactile drawing. So we met up, and she happened to have a sensational blackboard, which was it's another tactile drawing surface. So again, I was a little skeptical. But it wasn't a squishy wrist mat. This was actually like a hard rubber back with a rubberized silicone front that was much firmer. And when I put a piece of paper on it, it had a ballpoint pen, and I drew firmly, I was able to actually feel the line that I was making, and I didn't tear through the paper. And she urged me on to kind of give it a shot, and I kept going. So I made some lines. Those lines became shapes. Those shapes became curves and paths and bubble letters and text. And then gradually, by the end of it, when my muscle memory started coming back, both my characters from college, Hootie and his friend Hootie Jr., were waving to us from the paper. They'd come back to life, and I was able to draw again. Let's see. So I'm still reeling from being able to draw, and then she hits me with another thing, SVG, or Scalable Vector Graphics. So why stop at hand drawing? Why not make digital illustrations, just like I used to do when in my sighted days? So she pointed me to some resources for this SVG code, and I was very, very curious, and I took it and ran. So how many of you in here have heard of SVG before? Okay. How many in here, clap if you've coded HTML and CSS or are pretty familiar with it? All right, good amount of you. So all of you who just clapped, you are ready to make digital illustration, because SVG is very, very similar to the way HTML code is formatted. It's not a progressive code like JavaScript or Python. It's just a markup language that lets you draft you write the shape. There's different syntaxes for the shapes, where the shapes appear on the canvas, how big they are, how they're styled. And I found all these resources online to learn exactly how to do this. The problem is all of that stuff online is geared towards sighted web developers because SVG graphics were built for responsive web design. You know, these people are building these phone site, like on tiny phone screens, they're showing these graphics, but they also want them to stay crisp and sharp when they get blown up to a big 30-inch cinema display on your desktop. And so they developed this graphic system that didn't use pixels, it just used math and some numbers and vector stuff from the computer. So we had a blind SVG study group with blind people from all over the world who wanted to learn this, and we would get together every week and talk about the tips and tricks and things that we found. But it kept coming back to the same thing, where they just found all these tutorials. They couldn't deal with all of the super techno talk that was all over the place. And I heard their concerns, grabbed everything that I knew, and I wrote a study guide. I removed all of the extraneous stuff that we didn't need to make tactile graphics. And we were left over with a lot of just easy to read and understand code. From that, I then built blindsvg.com, which walks you through the exact process of how to build SVG graphics. Even if you never coded before. So all of those who didn't clap, you can go to my website and catch up with all the folks that did. You know, all it is just a text file. If you're comfortable with a text editor, you can make your own graphics. You just type some code and then open it in a browser. And if you happen to have access to an embosser or a printer and have swell form paper, if you're familiar with that, and even it can do extrusions for 3D printing if you're so inclined. So all of the graphics that I have back there for your to check out, those were all primarily made on a View Plus Delta 2 embosser, and all the graphics are done entirely by code. So there's code, there's some visual interpretation where I'm, like my partner cited, so she would come take a look and see what I was doing and make sure that what I had in my head was coming through, and then I would just go in and emboss it until I got what I wanted, then put it out on like good Braille paper. So why is this important? With SVG code, not only does it let you make graphics, but it expands this whole world of creativity for everyone. I'm doing graphics, I'm doing art, but I'm also doing commercial logos. I have a friend in San Francisco who has a massage service, and she and I sat down one day because she wanted me to make her logo. Now this combined both the tactile drawing tablet, the Sensational Blackboard, and it included the digital side of things. So we sat down, I'm able to sketch out my ideas while we talked about our business, and she's able to feel the drawings that I made. And then using what I knew from the coding, I was able to come and just rebuild that sketch in a digital format, and now she has a full-on digital logo that she can scale and use for anything that she wants. And that logo is actually one of the things that's back there. So I'm actually I was able to kind of tap into my whole blind graphic designer side again and tap into the whole passion that combines drawing and digital graphics.
All right. All right.
Wow. So SVG, this stuff is it sounds really, really good. I know it's above my pay grade.
Mine too, Ed.
But again, his study guide is there again. What was it? Blindsvg.com.
Yes, I think so. I am gonna revisit that. I'm interested in that. Um, but yeah, that's a code for doing tactile graphics. But this is what we talk about too, guys. He went to the NFB National Convention, and out of the blue, there was somebody right there showing tactile graphics, and he got to see that and experience and made connections. He made connection with other blind folks and made something happen. So if you're
Right.
discouraged to meet up or even just maybe just to go one day, the convention does is not for people that is just NFB. I know people that go because they love going and they get a room and they go experience the stuff and they register and they meet other blind people that love to do what they do. We got sports and recreation organizations and things like that. So that's where he found his Tactel Graphics, and he was able to put his hands on a device. That device sounds pretty cool. Sounds more firm. Sounds more like it had features. They've been working on it in the blind community, and he found it. It sounds interesting to me.
I've actually used that one he's talking about when I was at DPI. It was something that they were selling on Maxier as well. It's basically like a clipboard. I imagine you can get it in a larger size, of course. But this one, and it had a film, and I believe that's the film he was talking about. Where basically you write with the pen, and the film that you put over the phone, what I'm calling a clipboard, right? A silicone back clipboard,
Hmm.
it then creates the image that you're drawing within that film, right? So,
Okay.
as an example of what I did, I mean, I am no shape, way, form, or fashion an artist, but when I was at DPI, Miss Marie and Miss Glenda, they had asked me to help a few other folks as far as because I had sight. So they was asking me to help some people that had never had sight to understand, like the difference of, let's say a residential building versus a commercial skyscraper, different little aspects like that. We talking about guys, and I'm trying to get them to be macho. Man, don't let your girl pump that gas. Don't let your girl, do this. You need to learn how to change a tire. I had to show them, what a jack feels like, and all this. I was able to give them a tactile visualization, I guess, a visualization graphic or something. I don't know what we want to call it, but bottom line, they were able to understand these things just from what I wrote on that film or what I drew on that film. So
And it's
Wow.
those little skills that you said about changing the tire, pumping the gas. Those are things I do still as a blind person. I still remember,
as you should.
Me too.
and
I even do it as a
helping your
female.
wife out. Yeah, yeah. So
I don't want my woman got gas on her hands or whatever. No, I want my woman smelling sweet and not like unleaded. You know,
That's not a
that smell like
popular
flowers,
fragrance.
Ed.
Yeah.
and Brittany's with us. Hey, Britt.
Morning, Brittany.
Well, she was with us. Maybe she bounced out again. I don't know. She was in here with us, but yeah, no, no, no. I mean, and that was like he said. From that point on, it was wow. I can draw again, and then it was into the next level, which was this
Yeah, SUV.
SVG code.
Yeah, and learning the code, and him saying that he went through the code and took out like not the junk, but the cut out the fat that we didn't need for making these graphics. Um, he went through that process. They even got a group set up. I'm interested because if I could get like places maps, let's say the a map of a mall, map of not the map of something, and able to print it out or do a tactile map that I could feel.
Right.
Imagine the door that just opened. We have a map. We're walking around in the mall, and I could tell you, oh, the store is on this way. Let's go down this way. What store's next to it? And you could
That's
be all
true.
labeled and everything.
Right.
Because they
Right. Right.
have a
Right.
visual map, as you go to the mall to let you know where things are, but
No,
that
they
goes
Yeah,
don't do
silent in
nothing
the
for us
visual.
though.
they
It
That's
don't
for
do
does
sure.
nothing.
not.
Yeah,
It
we
does
walked in
not.
right.
So
Liv-
that doesn't help me.
I
But it's
walked
kind of
in.
like my motto that I like to say I might have lost sight, but I haven't lost vision on life. So life goes on and you continue to do what you need to.
Yeah. I walked into a mall and I walked in with a mobility instructor, and mind you, she has vision. So she goes, "Oh, okay. So the map's over here. So we're gonna walk to it and see how we're gonna get to the store." Then we got closer, and she goes, "Oh, I don't think this map could do you any good. It's a touch screen. It's interactive. It has the weather and it has that." I took a picture with the AI, but as that, I told her, yeah, it's not cool that it's just all touchscreen and we don't have no tactile. We don't have no, nothing like that. The only place, and it's not that I've seen, but there is several. I heard of different places. But when I was in St. Louis, they have this thing called the Arch. Well, in their museum, they have a life size whole like 3D little map. You could put your hands on and feel the trees. You could feel the houses, the courthouse right there. You could feel the big old arch and all the little ride that goes up there. You could feel it, and it's you could feel the little people you could touch with your fingers, and you could feel it. They pop up 3D. It's like a
Oh
3D thing,
wow.
and it's scale to size.
Right.
Meaning, even the little car you touch, all that was scale to size, so you could touch the whole thing, the walkways, the park, the little river part. I was blown away when I touched this stuff. I was like, "What?" And they
I
even had
bet.
braille on it.
And
But
that
again,
helps
it
with
just
the
goes. It
visual.
just yeah. I mean, but again, this just speaks to the the doors or the accessibility that's opened up for us with these tactile graphics. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I mean, they would help us so very very much. As far as I mean, again, just basically kind of understanding what things look like, all the way to being able to find your way from the FUBU store to the whatever store. You know what I'm saying? The Nike
Right.
store, or whatever the case may be. Within a mall and stuff until they do something better. And I think what's coming down the line on that kind of stuff as well is going to be kind of like their own little GPS within their mall.
mm,
I
yeah,
mean,
they're working now.
they kind of jam Wi-Fi in there because a lot of the stores, all their stuff is Wi-Fi.
Right.
So they don't really want us hijacking their stuff or possibly getting into their accounting stuff, whatever. So they kind of jam it. So we don't get a lot of good reception inside the malls. So, but yeah, no, dude is. I mean, he's on it, man. I mean, I just like the way he in essence, he never really thought he was going to be able to do this again, but he never really gave up. It was always, damn, if I could just find a way, if I could just find a way, if I could just find, and certain key things happen in his life, like you say, walking into that lighthouse in San Francisco, the adaptation store, that little thing there. Then he made his way to the convention, and then he ran into the people there. Of course, he's into this kind of stuff, so he would, of course, looked at the itineraries. Oh, they got tactile graphic stuff over here. Let me go see what that's about. And that's led him to the next level where we're about to get to on our next clip, I believe.
Yeah, also, no, yeah, that's true too. I wanted to talk about what he started to do. Um, with doing his characters and so it seems to me that he was still doing like little comic strips, this and that. Um, that about him making a logo for a business. That's interesting too. That's pretty interesting too, because I would like to like print out or make a tactile logo of my stuff and have it right there and put it in my wall. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So that is pretty cool. The things you could do. You could print out even a character that you think it was pretty dope from a cartoon or something, or and have a tactile picture on your wall for your blind guest.
Right,
You
right, right,
know
right, right, right.
that seems pretty cool right there. The printing of, let's say, for example, over here in LA, we have something called City Walk. Imagine we could get a line out of the outside of City Walk and see where the stairs and the bathrooms at and
Right.
navigate that thing.
Universal City Walk. Ooh, it's a mess down there.
It's a mess because it's super packed. But I know there's different levels, stairs and elevators. I remember how
Right,
it is,
right,
but if we do have the map and we could see how things are, we can even have landmarks and then use our even GPS location devices or navigational apps right fast to drop marks.
right, right.
Man, we could even
That
go and
that
have
voice
lunch.
that voice Vista to see now. Once you go to them places like that and use drop them pins with that voice vista, you're good next time you come back. All that stuff will be right there in that app for the next time you come back. But again, that first time it's exploring, trying to, get to those locations and having
Yeah,
that
yeah.
tactile
See,
app in hand to
yeah,
help you get to those locations is it's
that's a new
priceless.
level. That's a new level right there.
Yeah,
And
it's priceless right there.
if it could be done, oh my God, you know what I mean? It's a new level because when we hit a new place, we're like basically let's picture ourselves. Have y'all played these games? It's called like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that. So
Yes,
you walk
yes,
in into a little square and you don't know what's on your left, front, or right until
that's
you
right.
move to that square. Basically, that's where we are. We don't know what's all around. We don't have that visual that we're barely have to explore the area, find a landmark. But with a tactile map, we have more feedback. We have an idea of where we
Exactly.
could.
A whole
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
world opens up.
Mm-hmm.
I
Whole
mean,
possibilities.
I mean, with AI and stuff like this tactile graphics. I mean, it's a new age for accessibility within our community, and
It
Mm-hmm.
is.
I just want people to embrace it and learn how to use it so they can, again, as we say, live your best life. You know
Live
what
your
I'm saying?
best life.
Yeah, and the
So
thing is, I wonder how, let's say, people share files, and let's say we created map files of different places, right? Takes out map files, and we have those SGV files saved in our hard drive. Where will we go print them at? That's another question we could see. I know you need a 3D printer. You could print them out on 3D printer,
embosser.
an embosser.
He was also talking about the preform kind of stuff, thermal forming.
All right,
Uh,
explain to us an embosser, Ed,
an
for those.
embosser basically is, how can I say it in more simpler terms? It's basically a device where you run the paper through it and it has all these little, like, I want to, pinheads. They're not going to be like a sharp, sewing pin, to pin something like that. No, it's something that's going to press against the paper, and it's going to, through this various code, it's going to push those little, what I call braille dots, okay, because that's what they are when they print them out in braille, right?
Right.
Just little dots, right? But with thermal or with the graphics, it basically recreates the image with those little dots. So it's kind of, like I say, embossed kind of thing. I mean, there's a different kind of involved embossing. Like if you've ever been to to go buy a Christmas card or whatever, and it might have a clown on it, but the clown is kind of embossed where you can actually feel the clown.
Yes.
It's not dotty, with the little braille dots, but that's still a different type of embossing.
That rough
Okay.
texture.
So it's just with
Yeah,
uh
I know for last year in CISA they gave us a map and it had braille and then it had the like the squares that you could feel like the where to walk and stuff. But I'm not too keen with braille. I'm barely getting started. But
well,
you
and before they also had, what was it, the open, I forget the app they had. They did have an app that we used a couple years ago that would actually guide us through the hotel into the exhibit hall.
mm,
It was like a GPS kind of thing going on. Like an open air, not a, what is it? What's that other one? The GPS one, the one that gives you everything in a time, clock kind of situation.
Lazarillo,
Not Lacerilla, the other one.
blind square.
Yes, blind square. It was like a blind square kind of situation. You
Oh,
know,
okay.
yeah. But I mean, again, I don't know that they have it this year. I didn't see it anywhere on the website, so I don't know that they have it. Thank God, I'm bringing my grandson. He's got good eyes, and we get where we need to be.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell them
Right.
about that. I'm gonna ask and see what can they do and things like that.
Yeah, because that's the sad part. Even though we are registered, we still got to go by the registration desk to get our card.
Yes.
Yeah, that we have registered. So,
And
but yeah, no,
we're also gonna meet the young gentleman that we're listening to his clips right now. So
yes.
we do have a few questions for him, and hopefully we are able to bring him to you guys. So yeah, can
Is
get
it?
to
We
know
are.
more about.
Now, this is in the Hilton right there, right, Pedro? Is it the Hilton or the
Um,
Sheraton?
no, the Marriott.
Marriott. Okay, well he's got a room in the Hilton. He told me about. So I guess the Hilton is right there somewhere as well.
Yeah, yeah, them rooms are running high, Ed.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, when
Mm-hmm.
if you're a successful graphic artist,
Hey, he's
Just
been working in
finished
the
for it.
profession.
you've been in
Right.
the field for quite some time, So yeah, I mean, he told me he's actually got a business suite. So,
Oh,
uh,
wow.
but anyway, well, hopefully we're going to be able to hook up with him tomorrow. And then also hopefully we will actually get him on here with us in person. So I mean, we're kind of getting some of this preliminary stuff out of the way so we can dive deeper into him and the technology when we have him on the show. So,
Yes,
Sounds
yes.
like I need to get a plane ticket to California.
well, either that or Carol, do the research. I'm pretty sure they do something similar there. I
They
just don't know
may.
where it would be.
They may. I'll reach out. There are all types of avenues. I just got to drive
Right,
down
right,
there.
right, 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 right. So, all right, what we got? We got one more clip, Pedro, and then
Yeah, well, I'm gonna right now for those that are watching and would like to contact us, we better give out that information for you guys. So get your pens and pads ready. Your digital pens and pads, though.
You can visit our website, blindunited.org. That website again is blindunited.org. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, or would like to be added to our email list, you can email us at info@blindunited.org. That email address again is info@blindunited.org. If you would like to reach us by phone, you can call us at 909-846-8825. That number again is 909-846-8825. You can follow us on Instagram at Blind United Interest Groups. You can follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Blind United 22. You can follow us on our Facebook group, which is Blind United Interest Groups, and you can also join our Facebook page, Blind United. Blind United. Blind United.
we miss you, Brett.
Yeah, we miss our other co-host Brittany. She would have been taking care of the comments. So for those that are in the comments, hi, good morning, happy Tuesday. Um,
I can run down there and look at him right quick. See
all
if there's
right,
anybody in there.
all right. If you are going to the season convention, drop a comment. Let us know what you guys are excited to see. What are you guys are excited to go experience or check out? I know they have booths with different cane tips. Um, last year I checked that out. The graphic tip, the 360 tip. That one's a good one. They have big mushroom tips. You know.
Oh yeah, yeah. Paul said good morning to everybody.
Good morning,
Morning,
Paul.
Paul.
Good morning.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I heard you talking about tips.
Yeah, the cane tips.
Okay.
They had different canes too. The ones that, if they get caught in the sidewalk, they have a spring by the handle and it will bounce back and not hit you hard in the stomach.
Right, right,
Yes.
right, 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 right. And well, the telescopic canes are really good for that as well, as far as Not all of them have the little bubble. I'm sorry, the dot locks or whatever they want to call them, ball locks.
Hmm.
Some of them are just, if you bump something like that, they'll just automatically collapse rather than
Mm.
jug you, as I call it.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Very
so
painful.
oh,
Well,
very, very, very. That's
yeah,
why.
very painful, and that's one of the things I told my mobility um instructor that I'm gonna walk normal. I can't walk with my hands straight in front of me, like if I'm always holding on to something in front of me, like
Right.
Right.
I'm gonna have the cane going shoulder to shoulder, but my cane is long enough that I could put my hand on my side a little and
Right.
be on a well walking position instead of
Right.
with one arm in front and might be misbalancing because I have my arm in front. I didn't walk all my life with my hand in front, and then they expect you to do that. And some of these instructors, and most of them, they don't even pick up a cane for 2 hours for the last year or two or three or four or five.
Well, I mean,
True.
they have to when they're going through to get their degree, but
That's it.
chances of them using a cane after that, I mean, it's very, very, I doubt if they ever would,
Yeah, and
Uh,
I know it's only like required a few hours. It's not like
Right.
you know.
I
so,
normally walk with mine as well on the side, but what I've noticed, Pedro, is especially crossing the street, I veer. I veer, so I kind of have to put it in front of me now. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. I used to do that, and I used to point it like to the front.
right.
Yeah,
well,
but
and that is very, very true. I mean, because I veer to the right.
Me too.
It's also good to know which way you veer.
That is true. I veer to the right.
So, but like you said, whenever I'm crossing the street like that, I do center it, and then it does help me to walk straight across the street rather than veer. So, uh,
hmm.
but I mean, again, once you get your skill levels up or whatever, it's like when I go over to where my church is. I mean, there's a great big courtyard that I have to cross, and I'm being honest, I'm able to catch that little seam, between the sidewalk and the concrete for
And the
the
concrete,
courtyard.
yes.
And I'll follow that seam all the way across the front of the courtyard. And it'll put me right on the grass on the other side where I can make my way around the grass and get into the classroom area.
Okay, okay.
So I mean, it's just again, once you get that feel, you get that right tactile feeling with your cane. That's
Right.
is very, very important. So
And I have
uh,
tried the canes with that tip as well, where I've, run into a wall and it bounces back where it does not hit you. It's just, I need to get me one of those as well.
well, I don't know. I'm gonna have this guy on next week, Jimmy uh, James Bain. He makes all my canes, so I'm gonna have him on next Monday. And he does have a store where he sells a lot of different stuff. I was telling Pedro wants a titanium telescoping cane, and he has that.
Oh, wow.
Monica wants a flashlight. Well, I guess you want to call it a flashlight. It's about the size of a tube of lipstick. A light that clips on her cane for when she's out there at night.
Right.
So he's got a lot of great stuff that he sells, of course. And also he does a thing called You Cane Give Initiative, where he literally gives canes away to folks in third world countries who otherwise would not be able to get a cane. So
All
That's
right.
absolutely amazing.
yeah, so he'll be on Monday, and I will have some clips and all that kind of stuff of his travels to South Africa and Kenya and Colombia and different. Again, he's given out over 2,500 canes at this point.
All right. And one of the accessories I just got is a cane holder. You clip it onto your belt. I fold up my cane and I put it there, and I could sit in the axis. I could sit in a chair. I could hop in a van. I could hop in a car, and no bother. The thing is no bother, and it's pretty cool.
They call it
Really?
a cane sheath.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah,
I call it
yeah.
a cane holder,
So
man.
they got a sheath for your sword. The warriors,
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Almost like
yeah,
an umbrella.
Well, not necessarily. It's again, it's a sleeve that your cane slides into.
Exactly.
Okay, neat.
Yeah, exactly. And I just clip it
Yeah,
onto my belt, and I just put on my cane, and that's what I'm gonna take for CSUN. I don't care how I look. One of my friends got it for me. It was pretty dope, pretty dope. So it's been great for me, you know. Um,
well, you don't have to worry about laying your cane down and forgetting about it. You don't have to worry about being somewhere and putting your cane down and somebody else pick it up.
Pick it up.
hmm
That's right.
Exactly,
You
exactly.
know,
Or I don't want to say where, but in certain events, people take their cane, their unfoldable cane, and just leave it on the floor. Things like that. We gotta be
right,
Right.
right,
mindful.
right, right,
We
right,
gotta be mindful of our surroundings, especially when it comes to our blind community. We gotta be mindful of other blind people, just like we would like them to be mindful of us.
right, right. That's what's always amazed me. I mean, some folks. I mean, I'm not mad at them. They prefer a straight cane. Hey, go for it. But when you
Go
put it
for it.
down on the ground, yeah, you put it on the ground and you make sure it's not in your way. But
Right.
what
I can
about
trip
people
over it.
walking by?
That's right.
Yeah,
That is
even the
absolutely
folded
right.
canes, even the
That's right.
folded canes,
Folding
they
canes
have
as
them laying
well.
everywhere. You
No,
know,
I
and
always
like,
have mine on a chair or something, that I'm sitting in, something like that. I
hmm
was taught never, ever, 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 ever put it on the table.
But that's
mm,
exactly what I used to do.
yeah,
And I was
myself too.
told, yeah, I used to sit mine on the table and they say, well, you touch everything with the tip of your cane on the floor, so don't put it on the table.
That's
That's
what they
just
just,
nasty.
you might as well take your shoes off and put them up on the table
That's
too.
right.
Oh
That's right.
wow! All right, guys, moving on, moving on. But that's what the cane holder for. It never
Yeah,
touches the table. So let's move on. And this is a shorter clip, guys. But yeah, so we're finishing
kind of
up.
more of a summary of his thing.
hmm
Able to do that because of some of the work with with the SVG code and understanding of the canvas. Now I know it's Saturday afternoon and you probably weren't expecting any math. I was told there would be no math. But just in a quick nutshell, the embossers produce graphics at 100 dots per square inch. So that means if you have an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, that's like 850 by 1100. So if you have those numbers in your head, then you kind of can map out mentally how the canvas is set up, like where the midpoint is, how big something would be on a sheet of paper if you made it 100 by 100, an inch by an inch. And that helps you kind of derive the numbers that you're putting into the syntax for SVG code. And through that, like people were creating Christmas cards in that group. People were creating all kinds of different table setups for their, even like for the exhibit hall here, you can use SVG code to set up tables and do a little bit of interior design. I know some STEM folks that are using it to create circuit drawings for their projects. One of the big things that I've done professionally is I've worked with SVG code to build wireframes and do layout design for both print and web and app design. And I've even had designers send me the SVG so I can emboss them out and feel what they've designed as I go through and touch the actual graphics that they're using. And we're not like talking about an unlabeled button. I can now feel that unlabeled button, point to it, and be like, hey, you need to fix that. And it's the limitless, like what we can do with this. And so I'm just happy to be able to come here today and share my story, especially with blindsvg.com. I hope you can all go check that out. I'd love design and these kinds of graphics aren't just for sighted people anymore. We can do it ourselves now, and until we have more accessible illustrators. So let's take your creative ideas and turn them into tangible reality, and let's go design some sensational graphics together, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, so they clipped that right where I asked a question about what his website was again.
Yeah, it's blindscp.com.
Right. Well, I mean, they opened up the floor for questions right after that piece right there. So again, it's blindsvg.com. And there is a study guide right there. I've gone there, looked at it. It sounds Chinese to me, but I'm not a coder. So, But again, as he said, if you're into HTML and stuff like that, it's not that much of a stretch to go to this SVG. And man, this stuff is to me, it's amazing. This is life changing for us. I mean, you think about what he said. So there's 100. What did you say? 100
Sales
braille
per
points, braille cell points, right, to a 1 inch square.
100. Yeah, yeah,
Woo.
Okay, so that's how many times that dot or that embosser can put a dot in that one square.
yeah,
Okay, so I mean, you imagine that, like he said, multiply that by the size of the paper, 8 by 10 or whatever the case may be, and now all those numbers just went crazy. So I mean, that's his canvas, as he's saying, so in his head he can lay that out, and just
yeah,
start writing that code. And once he feeds it in to the embosser, boom, now he's got a tactile, you know, image that he can feel and all that kind of really, really, really cool stuff. So,
yeah. And this could actually open up the doors for, let's say, you move to a new place and they give you a tactile map, or they have one in their lobby that you could feel right quick. It wouldn't cost hundreds and thousands of dollars to get it printed out, get it all nice and put it there. They could 3D print it out.
right, right, right. It's 3D printed, or you could do, like we're talking about that thermoform, you know,
Hmm.
where it's more like, I know you know what a thermoform is.
They're gonna send me some. My actually my big sister was gonna send me some. She was like, you should check these out, cause she does graphing and encoding a little bit too.
Right,
Or
right, right,
like
right.
check these out for some graphing I was gonna do, but
I actually want to give the lady that does my graphic work for me. I
hmm
want to give her the study guide so she can, also understand that, since she wants to work with, within the blind community. This is something you're gonna, would actually, bump it up and make people want to come to you. As far as being able to feel their graphic, their image, logo, whatever the case may be,
hmm
versus just you giving them a description, or we're taking a picture of it with, Be My AI or some other AI model that would give us those descriptions. You know what I'm saying? It's man, it's nothing like feeling it.
it's not nothing like feeling it,
That's
you
right.
know.
So, but yeah, no, that's the way of the future, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. I got a couple images that I'm really, really interested in getting commissioned. So I definitely want to speak to him on that level, and see if we can get some of that stuff done. Maybe create us some nice, unique pieces that maybe we can auction off or something. To our community. We'll see. Potential is there now. It's
Yeah,
there.
yeah, the potential is there for all types of tactile mapping things. I'm telling you, even a park. Imagine a park is mapping a park and starting to see, okay, the walkway goes here. Oh, the benches are right here. Oh, the courts are over here. So let me make my way over here. Like once you start knowing the place, you're gonna be way more confident.
It's
Having these
just
maps out
exciting
there, yeah. So
I mean,
because
think
we see
about
with our
this as
hands.
well. Yeah, think about this as well. You even have the opportunity, the ability now to, how can I say, I had it in my head. Uh, uh, what was I going to say? We now have the ability to, my goodness. Okay, so like Christmas cards. Let's just say we get with, folks a Hallmark and all these other kind of people, right?
hmm
So now they
Right.
go and they go and they take those graphics that are already on the photo or on the Christmas cards, right? they run it through that SVG code. Then they run that picture where it's already printed with all the colors and the image is already there. But now you come back with this embossment. And now not only people can see the image for those that can see, but now the card is more appealing to us. Why? Because now we can feel it.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Yep. So, folks, that is going to open up the doors. And we hear the music. I think it's time for
Yes,
us
sir.
to roll out, I guess.
Well, I am there now. So again, thanks everyone for coming in and joining us today. And again, we will do this again tomorrow. We hopefully will have Deborah Erickson with which does our group, The Blind Kitchen. She's really, really great. Got her own website, sells a lot of different products, help us out in the kitchen. So that group is tomorrow at 2 p.m. So anyway, until tomorrow, if I don't see you on Basic Jaws tonight, we'll see you on the next one. Everybody have a great day.